Jim Sterling is lecturing male gamers about women. Yeah, Jim Sterling, the person that cosplays as a female, is lecturing moi and several other toxic male gamers about women. Did I wake up and land in the Twilight Zone? Somebody that is clearly mentally unhealthy that cosplays as a transgender woman. This individual right here that you're seeing on your screen is lecturing men about women. What does this world come to at this point in time? They made a video called Woke Chins, the latest silly outrage. And this is, I guess, in response to all of us calling out the masculine jawline that we're seeing in the Perfect Dark remake. We're seeing it in the Horizon Zero Dawn games. We're seeing it with Lara Croft. The wokies are essentially redesigning any sexually attractive female in our video games and putting a Buzz Lightyear chin. Yeah, it's not something that we're conspiracying about. This is something that's real. And for whatever reason, the wokies, especially the trans community, want to protect it. Jim Sterling, who actually is a male, but calls themselves a female now, clearly not any mental health issues, is basically calling people out and lecturing us. Let's listen to what they say right here, because there's something that they say early on in this video that just made me fall on the floor laughing my ass off.
Chins, liberal jawlines, social justice cheekbones. If that collection of words sounded weird, alien, strange to you, then congratulations! You've not had to see the ridiculous shit the rest of us have seen. Oh yes, the chuds are measuring facial features now.
So, right off the bat, condescending, very, very prickish and insufferable in their attempt. This is what a lot of the wokies do. They try to call us chuds. They try to say stuff like, oh, we're sorry that you can't jerk off to your video games. They are literally uglifying characters. You saw on the trailer for Fable, that was one notable one where they literally look like Rob Schneider from Three Ninjas. They don't want overly feminine females in video games. This modern audience that doesn't exist doesn't want masculinity in male characters in our games. They want the males to be female and the females to look male. I can't even get it right. That's how out of complete logical comprehension it is. Like, these people worry about the weirdest fucking things. Instead of worrying about making a good video game, they're worried about political activism, appealing to the trans gays, pushing out LGBTQ narratives, filling in DEI checkboxes for people of color, and hating on white people. And this whole masculine chin thing is something that, yeah, it sounds silly. It sounds stupid, but guess who's the one pushing it? The wokies. Imagine trying to say that anybody complaining about this has silly outrage when people like Sweet Baby Inc. are the ones trying to push this in here, right? Go look at the Perfect Dark remake character with Joanna Dark. Completely obviously that they're making her masculine.
And determining which one's boy and which one's girl. It's unbelievable. So let's talk about how video game chins have gone woke.
They have. Absolutely.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah, for fuck's sake, which is why there's backlash about it. Normal people are backlashing about it. These people don't understand. They seem to think that they're on the right side of everything when it comes to injecting diversity. You have sickos like Alyssa Mercante saying that this stuff happens naturally. What does any of this have to do with diversity? It's nothing with diversity. And it's not happening naturally. That's why you have to have consulting firms like Sweet Baby Inc. force-feeding changes like this in here that are silly. This shit is silly. It shouldn't mean anything. And that's why people are upset about it. Jim Sterling, in no way, form, or fashion are you right about this at all. Or any Wokey that agrees with this. It's every bit as silly as you guys are claiming, but it's silly because you guys are pushing it.
Mate. Y'all have got to stop complaining that realistic
now
female faces are wrong and unacceptable, because pointing at frustrated little anti-woke gamer boys and saying they don't fuck is such easy, low-hanging fruit. But you are only furthering the argument more and more that none of you have been within 2 feet of an actual woman.
So he's saying the more that we argue about that, it shows proof that we haven't been more than 2 feet from an actual woman. And in other words, the same thing that they tried to say about Stellar Blade, that people complaining about Eve, the female protagonist design, clearly have never touched a woman. Excuse me, do I have to show receipts of all the poo-tang that I've had throughout the years? Or Smash JT, who's married with 2 kids? Or, anybody else? Like, it's so weird that the wokies go to this argument that when you have an issue with something like masculinity being put onto female characters, it suddenly goes into oh, you're just mad because you don't fuck. Like, why does that argument always come? It's always like, oh, because you don't get laid. You can't fuck. You've never touched a real woman. It always goes to that. It always goes to a sexual context of it when it's not. We're just talking about facial features of a character. Somebody help me with this. Somebody help me with this.
It was bad enough when the frustrated little anti-woke gamer boy started screaming that Aloy had a beard because Gorilla gave her a literal usual...
See, like, okay, I get it. In real life, there is fuzz on faces, and this is a different environment. This is more, I guess, out in the wilderness and primal and tribal. Sure. But you can't tell me that they didn't make Aloy ugly. They didn't uglify her, make her look more homely compared to what she should look like. Oh, it's to make people realistic. So are you saying people in real world are ugly? That we have to make characters ugly so people can be relatable to them? And even then, having to have any kind of like relatability to a character in a game, how narcissistic is that? I've never been like, oh, I'm playing Resident Evil, let me relate to Chris Redfield. No, I'm playing Resident Evil. Let's get some fucking zombies killed and get scared, and hopefully we have a great story. Like, I don't understand why people have to be so relatable to characters. It's fucking weird in my opinion.
Amount of skin fuzz that the majority of human women have on their face, but... No, actually, there is no but. It really was simply bad enough that frustrated little anti-woke gamer boys started screaming that Aloy had a beard because Gorilla gave her a literal...
They purposely made her ugly. Wokies could kind of twist it any way around. They purposely made her ugly, and they're doing that to other characters as well.
Really usual amount of skin fuzz that the majority of human women have on their face. It was both bitterly hilarious and
keep in mind, again, this is a trans woman, an actual male, Jim Sterling, a fat old dude, lecturing male gamers about real women. This guy feels they have the credentials to really lecture men about real women. Just keep that in mind.
Entertainingly depressing to see such eager self-reports as angry nerds...
And they always say to self-report, too, if you have a problem with something. We can't voice an opinion, guys, or else it's bigoted, it's sexist, we're lonely, horny little incels, right?
It's their outrage with hands that clearly had never so much as brushed a woman's cheek.
There he goes again. If you're typing outrage about this, it's clear that you've never brushed a woman's cheek with your hands. It always goes again to a sexual insult. Oh, this guy doesn't get laid. That's what it comes down to.
See? You see how easy it is you're making it?
Remember, this is the person right here lecturing us about male gamers never touching a female. Okay, we could play that game. Jim Sterling, you became this just like Chris Chan did, because maybe that's a lot easier of a way for you to touch females. Maybe you're just a weird pervert and want to share the same bathrooms and the same locker rooms as actual real females because that's the only way you would ever see one naked. Do you see how it works? It works both ways, and you could call that hateful or not, but you are this now because you couldn't get close to an actual female as a male at the end of the day. Admit it. So yeah, this video continues on. It's just real condescending. I don't want to make fun of someone for not having sex.
It's perfectly normal to not have sex. Big up the aces. Big up people who do want to have sex but haven't yet or aren't currently.
In the middle of people being told that they're not getting laid or whatever, he's like, I don't want to insult people. Yeah, you are insulting people. So Smash JT, friend of the channel, made a banger fucking tweet about this whole situation. And he says, Jim Sterling, a male cosplaying as a female, is telling gamers that we have no idea what it's like to be with a woman. One word. What? And that's my reaction exactly. And they quoted it. They quoted the video where he says, it was both bitterly hilarious and entertainingly depressing to see angry nerds type their outrage with hands that clearly have never so much as brushed a woman's cheek. The woke chin is one of the contemporary obsessions of gender-terrified cis men who think policing fictional bodies isn't one of the saddest things in the world. And Smash claps back saying, Jim, you're welcome to your opinions, of course, just like we all are. So here's mine. It's so blatantly obvious that because the direction of making women in gaming look like trans dude fits your narratives, of course you'd cling to it and demean anyone that dares question it. That doesn't mean someone questioning the direction of the industry has never been with a woman. That is such a pathetically weak take. And I agree. Again, just because something fits your narrative, you wokies, or you, I guess, trans community members, doesn't mean everybody has to like it. Jim Sterling, you're a male acting like a female, talking and lecturing male gamers that don't like video game characters being masculine because it fits your narrative. That's exactly what it is. And if we don't agree with your take or your logic, it's a problem. And that's why it's called wokeness. That's why it's called wokeness, because you guys cling to it. And, of course, Jim Sterling's getting roasted. You can see Sayal, shout out to Sayal, says, I look at stuff like this all day, and even I wish I had a warning, man. This is worse than the public gay blowjob the cops were fine with at that Cali parade yesterday. Don't even get me started with that. You see people, like, peeing and shit on each other? They're coming for your children. Sterling had the funniest takes for 2023 bestseller, Hogwarts Legacy. And you can see, here we go. Dune Awakening. You can see MRE in Concord. Diversity. Straight up right here. Mary Jane, Lara Croft, and Perfect Dark. You can't tell me that they're not purposely making female characters masculine, guys. Oh, you anti-woke people are just grifting. No, this is fucking legit. And you can see people are just Yellow Flash replying with the Jim Carrey puke. Rosary Warrior, shout outs to Park Place. I want to vomit with this picture. You can see just right here. Everybody just roasting and cooking Jim Sterling for lecturing us. Rightfully so. Now, Smash did make a pretty good article on his website. Go check it out, smashjt.com, giving a whole take on the situation and stuff. So shout outs to that. And, of course, back to Twitter. People aren't having this. I don't know how much wokies want to try to push that they're the ones in the right. Obviously, things are backfiring on us. We wouldn't see petitions. We wouldn't see boycotts. We wouldn't see mass dislikes on YouTube videos like the Assassin's Creed Shadow stuff. All right? Nobody wants this. The casual gamer is not the modern audience. This modern audience that wants this weird shit like woke chins and, making characters ugly and promoting DEI, they don't exist. This modern audience doesn't exist. It's just a whole bunch of nose ring brigaders like Alyssa Mercante that cosplay as gaming journalists, that cosplay as video game developers, that are actually political activists that I'm starting to think don't even give a fuck about what they're protesting and complaining about all the time. They just want attention at this point. They call us grifters only because they don't like what we're saying when they're the fucking true grifters. They're the true grifters. And you can see he says, acknowledging the woke chin brings it more eyes, and what woke fails to recognize, just like their Hogwarts boycott, is people do not care to participate in their delusion. Their eyes function, gaslight away Jim Sterling. Devs acknowledge it. Why can't him, her, she, they, them too? And you can see, I mean, the main thing right here is they look like Matt Damon from Team America. This is the character from Star Wars Outlaws that got a lot of hate. And you can see just, it's all part of a plan, guys. It's literally all part of a plan. And if you can't see it, you're blind to what's happening. Atreus said, wait a fucking minute. Is this the same Jim Sterling that Nabi? Yeah, it's the same Jim Sterling. This individual thinks they can lecture us about
Hey, I was a late
the
fucker.
female
But when
body.
it comes to people who very clearly want some form of sexual contact, who are clearly very sexually frustrated, but they express...
See, it's coming down to we're sexually frustrated if we hate all this, guys. This person that decided to become a female this late in their life, this motherfucker is like, what, in their 40s? This late in their life, that confused about who they are, is lecturing us about females and how we're wrong and how we're sexless geeks. Get real. Get fucking real. Are you kidding me? And people that are on the same side of this, I couldn't imagine being a wokey and being like, hey, this person's right. This guy right here that's obviously mentally confused is not right at all. He's wrong telling men that, like me, whoever, that we haven't had sex with a female. That's what the debate's coming down to. Is that even an intellectual debate? Like, imagine debating somebody and your only clapback is, yeah, well, that just proves you're sexless. You're sexless. You've never touched a woman. Like, what in the middle school is that? What kind of argument in middle school is, oh, this just proves you crying about a woke chin means you're not laid. Yeah, that's what this person has, who's clearly confused with their life. When we have proof of this happening, guys. It's happening everywhere. And if it's not the woke chin, it's the LGBTQ narrative where characters are bi, gay, trans, whatever. And if it's not that, it's, oh, these characters aren't white. And then that's when we get bullshit like that Concord game where these characters just look fucking terrible. And we see stuff happening in everything from Perfect Dark, Tomb Raider, you name it. Fill in the blanks. They want characters to be relatable. They want them to be realistic with woke chins and peach fuzz jawlines and necklines. And they want them to be fat and ugly. But the more and more they do it, the more unrelatable these characters actually start to look. I mean, right here on the left, that's the actual real-life model. Right there. The actual real-life model. And this is the character they put in the game. They all lock replies. You see, this was a developer right here that came out and said he will no longer be publicly discussing black representation in games for the foreseeable future. No more panels, articles, podcasts, nothing. This is not up for discussion, nor is it an invitation to try and change his mind. That's because Del Walker was told to shut the fuck up by his colleagues. This guy came out and originally said right here that he's not talking about mild changes, that the wokies want pose, aura, style, softness, age, flair, everything changed. And he said, I hate giving Gamergate men fuel, but it's very difficult to pitch beautiful or vain black women in games without them coming back like grocery store aunties. There's room for both. And they said there was a handful of times they pitched black women characters that look like this. Then after 10 iterations, a concept or model comes back without a speck of the original beauty they pitched. Right there. That's probably one of many he spoke up. And then once he did, they got to him. You can see right here, he's no longer talking about it. Because it doesn't fit the narrative, guys. It doesn't promote what they want. And it doesn't, make people like Jim Sterling happy when you go against the grain. They want only what they care about, guys. If you're a developer, a movie director, whatever, if you piss off people like Jim Sterling, if you piss off people like Alyssa Mercante, they will be offended. They will try to cancel you. And for whatever reason, even though they're the minority, they have the power and the clout socially to scare people away. I have no idea why it works that way. Fuck the woke cancel culture mob. Don't let people like Sweet Baby Inc. also intimidate you by saying that if you don't cave into their demands, they will go to your marketing team and scare them to get what they want in their games. They're the ones that are the miserable ones that are wanting to shoehorn stuff in. They're the ones that are upset about anything that is not woke, even though they won't openly admit it. If your game doesn't cater to their needs, to their wants, to their agenda, they will do everything they can to write hit pieces, come after you, cancel you, everything. And then they'll also be condescending weirdos like Jim Sterling is to tell people that male gamers that they've never touched a woman. Why does it come down to the argument again? That is so fucking retarded. Oh, I don't like what you're saying, what you're doing, what you're making, so it's clear that you've never touched a woman. What kind of nonsense argument is that? That's why I will call this out all day, every day. No matter what. I will always be anti-woke, and I don't care who has an issue with it. So, If you like this video, guys, don't forget to hit that sub button. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.